really wish that I could figure out why that was so obnoxious.
I know.
And like a way that I could like turn it down or something, but like that owl is beyond me, so. I also didn't print out agendas, but the only thing on the agenda is miscellaneous in the mill rate, and adjustments to the agenda, and I wanted to add parking onto,
I was gonna say public comment.
Yeah.
Parking. Okay.
Onto the agenda,
Alright.
and I'm doing meeting minutes by Monson tonight, so bear with me.
I'm just gonna call up the agenda on the website.
No, there's 3, and it always has to be an odd number, so it's always 5, 7, or 3. Because if it's an even number, then it could be a split vote. So, what? So we're missing one tonight, yeah. Jonathan, is in Boston, I think.
Mm-hmm. Whenever you're all set.
Yeah, whenever.
Okay, we can open 404 and adjustments to the agenda. So you want to add parking,
Slash public comment.
public comment, okay, and then I guess we can address the parking during that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I didn't know if you wanted extra
No, that's
on that. Okay, and I think that's it. All right. Public comment.
okay. So, basically, they're just here to kind of revisit what we kind of discussed at the last meeting. Kent and I did go and talk with, Shaw's about the parking in the road and, some of the double parking issues and parking specifically in the triangle.
Which is still happening. I sent you pictures.
In the
Yes.
triangle? Yep. So some of the ideas that I have had, obviously, like, we need to think about parking in general, not just specific to this one area, but for the whole downtown area, because this is the second business in town that is having a hard time with parking.
Mhm.
And so some of the thoughts, like, to keep people from parking in the road on Pleasant Street or Center Street, maybe it might be beneficial to have like no parking on the street signs to keep the people from just automatic, because I don't think it's the Shaws that are like, yeah, you can park in the road, it's fine.
Yeah.
I think what's happening is they're busy and
Right, they can't monitor it.
and people are just doing it because there's not a place to park. And so by the time, somebody notices that somebody's parked there, it's been 4 or 5 hours
Yeah.
of this vehicle being parked there. So if we just had signs like in the triangle or along the road that says no parking street side or something like that, it might just help deter people from doing that.
Couldn't hurt. Yeah.
I mean,
But you've also got to realize that a lot of the people that live on those streets, when they have company, they park on the side of the road because nobody's got big driveways. Like Dahlia, she had five vehicles parked the other day because the family was up.
There's one thing about being parked there for a little while, than being parked there all overnight for all day to the next day.
True.
And they're not just parking in front of said business, they're parking in front of everybody's business. Our driveways are like, that's different. That Dottie wasn't blocking people's driveways, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's not quite the same.
but specifically in the triangle, at least to put no parking signs in the triangle,
Yeah,
maybe that would help. Because there really isn't ever a time where parking in the triangle is appropriate, even just,
Just stick a fake fire hydrant on the ground.
I mean,
Nobody will park in front of that.
I know they do though, that's the
They
thing.
still park down there in the water in front of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
There's no parking.
nobody listens.
Mm.
I'm still thinking also the no parking signs along the Pleasant Street area there. Because they're gonna park still on the road there. I don't know.
Or maybe we can pick one side of the street to say no parking this side of the street. So that we don't have people parking on both sides of the
and you can't
roads.
get through.
But it still turns the road into a one-way,
Yeah.
and that's the problem.
That's nice, so.
Well, all the parking down there is an eyesore.
Were you able to talk to them about having parking in the driveway rather than tents?
Yeah, and it's marijuana.
Yeah, I did, but and one of the things that they said is that, there's not a lot of overnight parking, they said, but there is.
There is.
And so they said that a lot of the overnight parking for people that are not specifically staying right there, like that they're hiking or something, they make them park at the trailhead. So
Then why are there so many cars there? That doesn't make sense.
I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars.
Yeah.
I thought there was a 6-foot setback to off the road. At least I got a letter at my house claiming there is, when they sent me a letter last year that said all my shit back. And after they got done with that, they sent me another letter to mow my lawn.
I don't know
I don't
what the
believe this
setback
man got
is
a letter or
there.
anything.
He has gotten letters.
He has?
Yep.
So there's no enforcement behind him?
It's working with him to come up with a solution,
That's not what town ordinance says.
because that's what
Process in the town ordinance.
this town has been survived by small businesses. The town tries to work with the small businesses.
Well, they ain't working with her. She has a small business. Seems like it's,
In his business,
What does the town come after your small business for?
no, that's not what we're saying. We're saying what they're doing hurts my business. They're eyesore, they're parking. I've had customers that have come in, they're like, you're hard to find, it's too hectic down here. But the town ordinance specifically says, even right in it, it says parking, that if you're going to have a parking area, it has to be behind a barrier fence, but it can't be an eyesore. It says it right in our town ordinance.
The vast majority of small businesses in this town are technically in violation of the parking ordinance. If we wrote a letter to everybody that was in violation of that,
that's what my daughter said. She works for the state. That's what she said, that should already been done. Everyone in the town should already got a letter. With so many days.
are we gonna be the one to tell every small business they've gotta shut down?
You're the ones that made these laws. We didn't make them. The people voted these laws in, right?
Yes, they did,
Okay, so what's the problem? And this was in 2023.
because the
Because what?
townspeople
The townspeople voted it in. 2023 is what's the problem?
not realizing
Not realizing
what
that
the issue was
it
gonna
couldn't be
be.
enforced, is what you're saying. Not realizing that what they were doing was just a bunch of bullshit, evidently.
Can
We're
the,
working with the businesses to come up
You
with a
are?
solution.
Can the
You were
area-
working with them last year, and all you did was send me letters. They got nothing. Now we're into the second year. Still, nothing's been said to him. Nothing. I'm not stupid.
so
Yes,
let's
go
get
ahead.
back to what you've been doing this week.
Yeah,
So you
so
and
one
the
of the
CEO
other things that I was thinking about was, like, I don't really know how it would work, but if we had, like, my initial thought is like down by the ball field. If we had
Right.
additional parking offered to the businesses in town, they would, because I'm trying to think of a solution that works not just for Shaw's, but for all the businesses in
Right.
town.
Overflow, kind of like overflow.
Right, and like these particular customers are hiking the 100-mile wilderness, so like they don't care if they have to walk
a little
from
bit.
the gym to theirs.
Well, I was gonna say half the parking lot at the gym is ours. So
Technically.
could we like somehow paint what areas are,
Or even just,
Available?
driving down the hill out back and parking down there. We might have to like add some gravel to that hill so that people could get
Yeah.
in and out of that hill.
or at least the parking lot,
Or
because
the-
it's never used unless there's any,
An
a function
event or
going on at
something.
the gym.
But the problem with that is we would then run into overnight parking, and And if we're going to, so like there's a layers of things that I think that we should think about, but I definitely think that we should be thinking as a possibility, and maybe some the town doesn't own a lot of properties is the problem. We kind of went
What
over
about
that.
the place that's, I don't know if it'll resolve for the other businesses, but you know where Cassie's place is, and then there's that vacant lot that's pretty flat where the church used to be, the one they went down, it's like a square lot. Is that owned by the town? No.
Is it on Pleasant Street?
So on Pleasant Street, you go right by Cassie's house, it's the next lot on your right.
I think Rachel Point owns that, or
Okay. That's where the old church was, right, that they,
Oh, yeah, it's not town.
not
No,
town.
it's not
Okay, I
town.
thought maybe.
but they are actively looking to buy a lot in town. Because they asked if I could get some phone numbers for them,
The Charleston?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
specifically the one on Center Street,
Yeah.
to get it before we have to deal with
The process.
the process.
But I was just thinking, like, for a short-term fix, so to speak, if we had, you know,
For all businesses.
for all businesses,
Right.
and it wouldn't be catering to just Shaw's. The only thing is right now Shaw's is charging people to park, and they wouldn't be able to charge people to park if they're parking in a public thing, unless we set up some, because I was talking with some other town managers about like what they do, because we're not the only ones that their businesses struggle with parking. And so one of the place like in Dexter, for example, one of their parking lots, they actually, so some of the businesses pay to the town a certain fee every year, and so then they kind of block off a section of the parking lot that says for Shaw's customers, and then they could charge somebody to park there because it would be blocked off to their specific section, and then, you know, the general store, like, or just
Right. It'd have to be-
downtown people,
The
you know what I mean?
signage would have to be really,
Absolutely,
And we
absolutely.
gotta enforce it.
yeah.
Well, I know, but it would really be up to the businesses to kind of,
Because some businesses will enforce it in terms of, you know, the signage will be towed, you know.
Right.
Whatever. I mean, most people are pretty.
but
good.
it's also not like in sight, you know what I mean? Like if it was down by the ball field, like you would have to know to go park there from one of these businesses so we wouldn't have a lot of people from like just driving through town start parking in this area because it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. But, you know, like for the Shaws, they could be like, oh, we have additional parking up here, you can unload here, but then take it up there for the night or whatever.
Right.
So I don't know, I just think that there's something that we could offer all the businesses in town before we start targeting every business in town about parking.
Yeah.
Tax
Well-
man.
I think it should be a conversation.
I did not do that. Bill did that, and
I'm gonna go talk to Bill, cause he's still in town, he's gonna tell me who's behind it. I
it
gotta
was,
take him out and have a few drinks with the old boy, say.
yeah.
So I think it would be prudent to invite, you know, a meeting with businesses maybe to discuss that parking idea. I'm just thinking if I was an overnight visitor, I'm not sure I'd want to park down near the baseball field. It's kind of out of the way for overnight, maybe up on the gym areas. But I don't know.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure, this would be Annie, so she's.
Oh, okay.
Can I make a suggestion? The church lot next to the park and pickleball court, if it was maintained and cleaned up, it could visibly hold a good 10 cars and get them off that corner going down Water Street with all them kids playing and have them out of the way trying to go around a curve when they're all in there pickleballing. And you got the whole park full of cars, and then you still got a whole line of cars going down the road. But you got this beautiful church lot that the town owns. They don't take care of it, but it could be utilized as a public parking for all the businesses in front of the post office, especially when they have school and we can't get to the post office properly because the parking's up down the street all the way. So there's
what,
a lot.
You know where the pack is,
down here?
right here, yeah.
Yeah,
There's a lot in between Bill and Mary's house and the pack. 'Cause I own the house, I know.
okay.
And I used to mow it and maintain it.
The
They
town
don't.
owns it.
Because it's not their land, it belongs to the town. Used to be.
So
a
like right here,
church there. Yeah, right there.
okay.
That's pretty central.
You
too.
encapsulize it on your map when you have the color-coded map of what the town owns and what other people owns. Well, that
Yeah.
lot's included, but nobody ever takes care of it. But Eddie and I did.
2 houses. Right after that, they own, there's 2 houses and then they own another lot in between the 2 houses. That could be parking too.
So we're talking about the park down here and just the lot between, after that. Is that
Yeah,
right?
right next to it.
Okay.
Right next to it. It
I
butts
didn't-
it.
I didn't.
And the old brown house that they tore down, the town still owns that land too. Right?
Yeah.
I
don't know if they own the brown one. I think that might still be in somebody else's name or under tax foreclosure.
Yeah, that one's still in somebody else's name, and in order for us to do anything with that land, it would be a very long time before we would be able to do anything with it because it's tax acquired and they just changed all the rules to tax acquired properties. But the lot next to,
That's pack.
so, and it just needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah. You can drive right into the park just like anything else. But if you cleaned it up and you spread it out, you could put 10 cars in there and they're out of the way. They're out of the way. And it's closer to town, to the historical building, the town office, the pub, the post office, the school building that they use for different activities. You know, we got to look at this congestion going on in the city of Monson. It's ridiculous. When you've got town property that's usable.
The ones where they just put those statues.
Roxanne Quimby.
Yeah, Roxanne would be.
One that was very
And that would be another great parking area.
Thank you, Ann. The lot down over here, we've talked about several times
Yeah.
too.
We have, and
It's Garage Street.
If you guys are offering overflow parking to small businesses you've talked about, there is gonna be a component of maintenance for the town, cost to the town. So there should be some type of, like you said, some administrative fee if people are gonna use it for overflow parking, because isn't it gonna cost the town to maintain? something?
yeah, I mean, especially if we're going to maintain it in the winter time.
Yeah. Well, that's what you're talking about, the businesses
Right.
would
Right.
have their spots.
Right.
Okay.
So I will look into the area down here by the park and see how big of an area it is and how like easily it could just be cleaned up and find if that's an area that we're looking at. I mean, at this point, I think that we should look at anywhere that we could potentially put parking. I also think that if we had a spot like that, then maybe the whole ATV congregation that we had over here
Yeah.
might have ended up over here instead of over here.
And I'm just thinking, we need signage.
Yeah.
So people are aware of where they can park and, so those are good, like, long-term solutions. Getting back to short-term
Yeah.
solution on Pleasant Street. So, did you say, CEO went out with you? Okay, because it is an ordinance issue of parking for now, and it's a safety hazard.
Well, that was my biggest thing.
Fire hazard.
I live across, I have a small business too, I live across, and is it a fire safety issue? And we're looking at having so many people so congested there, anybody's able to, you know, if there's, if, God
There's
forbid,
an emergency, right?
if there is. It took, like, just having one, you know, ambulance up there and fire, well, other.
The other day, when they were all
Yeah.
there, it was.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's very congested, nobody can do anything, and I'm not a firefighter, so I can't comment on that, but that would be the other thing we talked about, safety,
Right.
and just the flow out, everything is, it's
Right.
definitely a safety issue.
Yeah,
I've already talked to people on fire department, they said that they would never get a ladder close enough to the second floor to save anybody if something happened.
What about the ambulance issue the other night with a heart attack? They couldn't get to him.
Well, they did eventually, it's just heck, they're talking about finding what's going on.
so, Elena, what are we thinking the next step is gonna be?
Well, I definitely think that putting signs in the triangle will help for that particular area. And then as far as parking on the road, I just don't know how we decipher who has visitors for the weekend and who is causing a traffic jam, so to speak, on
Well,
Pleasant Street.
They can have their visitors park on their lawn, not on the road, right? They do that, but it's the cars that are parking on the road that are in violation. And
So are the ones on the lawn, they're not 6 feet setback.
right, but at least they're
I
not.
got a letter saying you gotta be 6 foot setback.
I know, but I'm just saying for now, this is it's not a safety issue.
Really?
As parking and blocking the road right now. That's our priority, I think, that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. The other, is providing parking options, for them, but it's the safety issue right now.
Big time.
And I don't know if you know, in terms of addressing it through the ordinance is the first step. And if it continues, I think, you know, the sheriff's office just needs to come in and have people move.
Well, they did that all last year. All last year, they were down there consistently, like,
The sheriff's, who called?
I have no idea, I would just see them show up.
Because if it's happening on weekends or days the town office is closed, we wouldn't know.
Right.
I just, you know, this whole thing is technically a code thing, so not
Exactly.
my area of specialty, but at the same time,
Oh, I talked to the code enforcement officer, and according to him, it's a town problem, everyone's got the same problem, and they're not, no violation over there. I told him, well, why don't you do your job, if now you got job security, plenty to do.
All right, so what's our,
okay, so, I mean, it's really up to you guys how much of this we want to enforce. Like what,
so you've had a conversation with the owners about parking
specifically in the road,
in the road, okay?
in the triangle.
In the triangle, and has it happened since you talked
Yes.
with them? Okay, so then our CEO should be talking with them.
Okay.
I'm sorry, making all the,
No, that's
Right
fine,
here.
because they did talk to me, and they said that they had caught a few people that had parked out the triangle and told them to move.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like, I don't think they're inviting people to park in the
No,
triangle.
because
I
the
think
owners aren't there all the time,
Right.
so if somebody pulls up and parks in the triangle, somebody staying there isn't gonna be like, hey, you can't park there.
Right.
But
So
who,
what you're saying, the bumpers hanging in the road is all right? What you're telling me?
no,
I wanna get this clear, because this is gonna go farther than this meeting, evidently.
if they're,
Your code enforcement officer is telling me he's not gonna enforce no codes, that you wanna know. And I'm going above his head, because he can't do that. Just tell me, oh, no, I ain't enforcing no code. Half the town's in violation, I ain't enforcing nothing.
so what's the
Really?
point?
Well, what's the point of having a code? You know what I mean? There ain't none.
It can't be in the
And
road.
someone will do the job, you know what I mean? It was voted in,
Right.
no matter what. You know, I've never heard of selectmen, I mean, I don't understand where you're coming from.
So, and if
You
we're
know what I mean?
enforcing it
It's voted in,
for,
but it don't matter
Okay, excuse
what
me.
you
What-
tell me.
if we're enforcing it for townspeople, because, I mean, I've got letters about stuff when I lived in Hampton, about renters I had and different things, and we're not enforcing it for businesses, that's discrimination. That's a problem too.
Like I said, I got letters at the town, they tell you fines and everything. 6 foot back off the road, please. Move your sawmill, move everything. Do you want me to move my little shed I had in my land down here in the trailer? I told them I was putting it on Pleasant Street.
So 6 foot off the road, I don't know if that pertains to all, like, the village area?
I
That's
don't,
setback, period, what he told me.
I don't know what information Bill used to draft your letter or what knowledge he had prior to that, or what capacity he was acting in, because he's not the code enforcement officer, and he can't enforce fines either, and there really should have been a conversation with you prior to that letter.
We had
And,
a conversation with him after the letter.
well, I know, but the conversation should have happened before that letter came. So I do apologize for that. But also, I don't know where he was getting this information, because I understand there is a setback, but it's different per road, because it's,
All right, so what's the setback on Pleasant Street?
I don't know, I think it's a free road, so
No,
Pleasant Street is.
is it 3?
Yeah, because there's only, Indian Point is the only one that's 2.
So it's 3 rods?
Yeah.
Well, that's quite a setback.
But
Perfect.
basically, if something is in the town's right of way, and we needed to do something, like but parking is a little bit different than a structure, because
He's
parking,
got a
like,
parking lot that's an eyesore to our business. It ain't right. Ain't right,
And the ordinance says there has to be a barrier fence or a buffer fence.
right. And it's his front lawn, it's not his back lawn, it's not his side lawn, it's his front lawn. That's Pleasant Street, that's the address to his place. He's got 2 businesses there registered with no parking, none. The house next door is registered as a store.
the problem is all of these businesses were here before the ordinance was. And
No,
so,
the ordinances were just voted in 2023.
okay, that particular part of the ordinance was in there from forever ago, from 2000 first.
So they should have changed it.
So they should have changed.
Let's do that, please.
And
We're gonna change
maybe-
it, though. We're gonna make them stick.
And maybe that's what the next step is looking at it to see if there's something that we can change to better fit the businesses of Monson. Maybe that is the next step. But the problem is all of these businesses from Lily Cat to Monson General, including down Pleasant Street, were all businesses before the land use ordinance ever came into town. Now, as a town administrator or a town person, we all want the same thing. We all want to support each other. We all want to win. We don't want somebody getting treated differently than others. And I understand where you're coming from, because you were told something by somebody of a town official, and now you're wondering why it's that way for you, but not everybody. I totally understand the frustration there.
2 years into that same scenario.
But my thing, had that been me in that position, I would have came and talked to you, and I would have said, as long as you're not parking in the road, I don't care. Don't park in the road, don't cause safety issues for traffic. I wouldn't have threatened you with fines, I wouldn't have done any of that stuff, or specifically noted out this, or drawn a line in the sand, don't come past this. I never would have done that, because the bottom line is, we all are, there's not enough parking in this town. In town or outside of town, there's not enough parking anywhere. And so these businesses, from Lily Cat to Monson General, have been here forever. And so as a town person, how do I go and enforce this code that is detrimental to literally every single business in town. But I also understand that it's hurting her business. And so I'm trying to meet somewhere in the middle here in which I'm doing something positive for her business and something positive for us, because I want everybody to win. So I'm not trying to downplay you or downplay the fact that this is an issue and we are going to figure it out. It's just, we don't want to be like, okay, well, this is the ordinance and you're going to follow it to a T, because then we will literally have no small businesses.
Follow it to a T. He's got driveways, you don't use them. He uses them for everything but the driveway. I mean, what do you mean?
I know.
You know?
So,
Well, it just don't.
Watch the expansion.
It don't make any sense, does it? He got a driveway, but he puts tents in them and marijuana. He got a driveway, but he sets up a place for people to eat
in the driveway.
in the driveway. Now, why wouldn't you use your driveway? What is
Depends
it?
on the law.
He outgrew himself and he don't want to slow down? Is that what it is? I mean, I don't
That's a call
understand.
I can't make because I'm not him as a business owner. I am
No, he comes from
specifically.
Florida. Evidently in Florida, they do some weird shit down there like that. You know what I mean? Do whatever you want. See, and then he's gone in the winter, so it don't matter.
The cars pulling off of the lawn, that's not safe either. We watch it. We watch cars coming down the road, while cars blindly pull off the lawn, like we see all of that.
And I'm,
Just make sure you log it in, because when the accident comes, I'm gonna be back here again. And hopefully take care of the town at that time, because you don't wanna do your job evidently. That's the
but
bottom
it's
line.
not that we don't want to do it,
Okay.
our job. Okay, so hypothetically speaking, so our solution from you is to just go and say, you can no longer park on the lawn and you can no longer park in the
No,
road.
I didn't
You
say
can-
that. How about, you can't use your driveway as a place to put tents. You can't use your driveway as a place to grow your marijuana. You can't use your driveway as a place to set up a tent in an outside vending area. How about using your driveway for parking, like everyone else?
Yeah.
You have to have a site plan for a driveway. You know what that is? That's so you can see out your driveway. That's what you're supposed to be using. That's why they have a site plan when you build a house for a driveway.
So,
Mhm.
And evidently his site plan runs from the whole frontage.
right, so this gets down to enforcement, and I think the
Yeah,
CEO,
and he ain't gonna
we
enforce
need to
it,
have
so
a conversation with
we gotta go
him, excuse me, we need to have a conversation with the CEO about our next step in addressing this.
Okay.
And then the second thing we need to do is come up with other solutions for all businesses for optional parking. But the ordinance is our enforcement right now for this first step.
So I'm just trying to think, because this is going to be my problem, even if we do
I
a
know.
ticket. So I just want to be clear what's expected of me before I go and do it, because I don't want to go and do something and then you guys be like, oh, that's not what I meant. Because then that's when we get into gray area, because it ultimately, I can't just let
We'll come up with a solution.
Ken go over there.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, if I come up with a solution for them or find additional parking places and I give that as a solution to them, and then they ignore my solution and continue parking in the road and continue disrupting the businesses, then I would feel a little less guilty being like, okay, I've given you a solution, you didn't take that option. Now, these are your options. I would feel a little bit better if I did that before.
That's what you're gonna do last week, whatever. So what are you gonna do for a solution?
Well, that's what I'm saying, like, looking into this parking over here and looking at down behind the gym, looking at those two places to see if it's something that even this area here, if it's something that we can easily make into a parking area, that's not going to take a lot of money to do because it's not budgeted, so it's gonna have to come from somewhere. And so if it's an area that is easily a makeshift area into a parking lot, then we can explore that.
So that's what you're gonna go tell them.
That's what I'm telling them, is
That's
that,
what you just said, you know, you have to have a different solution. You know, before you went and done anything, you know, you're gonna tell them a different solution and make, you know, until they violate that, they're fine. So is that what you're gonna go tell them?
well, I'm not gonna say they're fine, they can't park in the road, regardless. With or without additional parking anywhere in town, they can't park in the road. As far as parking on the lawn, that's what the solution would be for.
Additional parking.
Additional parking for the people on the lawn, so that they're not parking on the lawn. Then they can park in the driveways and in the additional areas. But as far as parking in the road, no. Under any circumstances, you can't just have people parking in the road for ever and a day, or 2 days, or 18 hours, or whatever it is.
And I would make it clear, no part of a car should be in the road.
Right.
So there's second row of cars, because they double park. All those cars are in the road.
Can't be.
Shouldn't be.
So, and I did make myself clear that the road is not a parking spot, and so talking about the signs, I mean, other than signs, I don't know what else to do to keep people from parking there.
Again, it gets down to enforcement and fines. We can, you know, explore parking options and try to be helpful in that way. But in the meantime, we have to keep people on that street safe.
I just, how do we fine one business for parking violations and not fine all the other businesses for parking violations? That's where I am like,
That's opening up Pandora's box. You're
Right.
gonna be-
You know?
But
But that,
other businesses' parking violations is dangerous.
right, I was,
Well, then you can't say, well, yours isn't as dangerous as this one. They're both violations. They're both equal.
right, like, we can't, I mean,
You know, we want to work for a solution, but it's not gonna be tomorrow. There's not gonna be a solution.
Won't be this year, right?
It's already been
Yeah, there'll be a
2 years.
solution this year.
It will be.
I'll guarantee it.
It will.
Because our, like I was explaining to Elena, the biggest thing is next month is August,
On the
right?
corner.
August is
September
next month.
after that, you'll be gone.
My business was open in August last year, as well as them, and we both were slammed. And the street was just, it was awful. It was really, really bad. And so I know that's coming. I have my scheduling booked for people that are booked already for me, so I can only imagine what it's going to look like.
Yeah, across the street.
can we pursue, you know, parking signs as well?
Mhm.
Get that on the list, get those ordered. I understand about opening up a Pandora's box, you know, but I'm not hearing that other businesses are parking is as risky safety-wise. Other-
I just want you guys to have all the information before you make
Sure.
decisions, that's all. I have no, I don't wanna say opinion, because obviously everybody has an opinion, but I want to do what's best for the town in every aspect. And where I'm not a code enforcement officer, I'm really doing this out of the goodness of my heart, but also because I care about this town. So, but I also want to make sure that I know what it is that's expected of me
Mhm.
before I just go and do it and then somebody get upset.
I think,
Can I make a suggestion for Pleasant Street at the Triangle?
Sure.
And I would suggest that maybe we get the ladies together and put in a flower garden in the Triangle, because people are kind of opposed to running over flowers. And so if we set a little flower
And,
arrangement around that triangle, maybe we could keep the traffic out of it.
We have a flower
There is
garden.
one
I don't-
there, in the very center, but,
Maybe making it bigger.
bigger, but I think it'll just make them park out farther.
I know.
And they'll walk even more.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a good idea, but
But I really think like once people see like a sign that says specifically no parking, like then they're like, okay, obviously I want to believe the good in people. And I want to believe that if I saw the sign, they'd be like, okay, I need to go somewhere else.
Mhm.
And maybe that might even trigger them if they can't find a place to park to go and ask somebody where a good place for them to park would be.
The business owner.
Versus just taking it upon themselves to be like, right here looks good. There's enough room
I
for
mean,
me.
we can't be the only state in the US where you can't park in the median.
Well, I don't think that you can park in the median.
Right.
Anywhere.
is it opening up a can of worms with the capacity issues and stuff? Doesn't this all kind of overflow with the capacities of these businesses? So is there a max capacity for like shore house for people?
I'm sorry, the fan behind me is so loud. I'm having a
Yes,
hard time.
Lake Shore does have a capacity.
So you do, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I would,
Yeah.
from what I read in the ordinance, there's also, you have to have a certain parking for every room and every person. The ordinance is very, like, we're not talking about one ordinance, okay? I printed them all off. There's like 4 or 5 different ordinances that are being broken. Like, it's not just one.
And that's another question is, the planning board, is that something, I know we just updated the land ordinance, but in looking at options there, but I keep getting back to short-term signage, conversation with the business, how engage them in how they can solve this and stress that it has to be addressed ASAP.
I'm just making myself notes.
Because I just feel we open ourselves up to great risk if there's an emergency on that road and emergency vehicles can't get through.
Okay. So just have additional conversations. Is this a conversation that just Kent should have or?
No, I think we
No.
should go.
And no parking signs, only in the median, like only in the triangle and.
Yeah, because if you put any on the side of the road on Pleasant Street, you gotta go around to every single street.
Hold on, that's,
No street parking, that's what.
I mean, I don't think it needs to be that excessive. There's plenty of other towns that put no parking on this side of the street.
On downtown roads.
Well, that's kind of downtown roads.
Downtown road.
I mean, it kind of is.
They put
Pretty
them on
close to
Main
it.
Street.
I mean,
They're gonna figure it out.
so.
I got plenty of vehicles.
Yeah, because of the, gosh, I want to say along that road, the side of the road.
I mean,
I'm just wondering if we put it on one side, will they go and park on the other side?
Well, if you put it on our side, then they'll park in front of all those cars that are
Already double parked.
Mm-hmm.
And those cars are already hanging into the road.
Right.
So,
do you have a different alternative for short term?
Yeah.
What?
I'll talk to them.
What's the alternative?
I'll find them some more parking.
You got something in mind?
Huh?
Do you have something in mind?
I'm sure I can find some parking for them.
We must have something in mind.
I've got a few places in mind.
So this would be taken care of when?
I'm not gonna give you a date. I told you we can look into it.
First. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
It's not gonna be overnight, but it will be taken care of.
I know it's gonna get taken care of, believe you me, I already know.
Do you know how long it takes to get the signage, Elena?
No, because it depends on like if I can find something that's already like made and can purchase it, or if it's something that I have to call White Sign and say what I want and have them make it for me.
I would think they have some of those signs pretty ready, but
Yeah.
you check it out. And then, yeah, you and Ken go ahead and have a,
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good.
We're just hanging out.
Just in time.
Okay, so
plan?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to new business. When you are ready there, set mill rate. Thank you for all this.
so that's the plan for.
Okay.
Alright. Yeah, so I made you guys a spreadsheet because I know Sue loves spreadsheets. And I actually didn't do too terrible with
So what
Excel
was
today.
that, what did we finish that, what's our plan?
We're working on it.
That Kent,
Working on it, that's been 2 years.
Hold on,
I
hold
already
on,
know.
excuse me. Go ahead.
yeah, so Kent and I will go and have an additional conversation with them, put no parking signs in the triangle. And then try to locate some additional parking for them and reiterate that they cannot park. Parking in the street is absolutely off limits. And if it continues to happen, you know, we're gonna have to pursue it further, but
And from what I understood from Sue, the second parked cars, while the bumpers are in the street, that's not okay either.
right, like no part of a vehicle can be in the road. So, as far as parking on the lawn, like I said, I think finding additional parking for them would kind of eliminate the need for them to park on the lawn. But for the immediate short-term future, parking in the road will be what is being addressed as of literally today. I tried to address it last week when I went and spoke with them, but that's the path forward. It's probably not going to happen overnight, but it's not gonna take 2 years either. Well, this just became a conversation between all of us right now. So it's been 2 years for you guys, but it's been 2 weeks for me. So I'm trying, I really am, but this is like one of 7 million problems that I get to deal with every single day. So I will not forget about it, and I will not pretend like it doesn't matter, because it does. It just, it literally can't happen overnight. Even imposing fines can't happen overnight.
Oh, we understand that,
So,
but just curious, you know, you ain't got a letter yet. You got a letter before anything. But the young man over there said he did send him a letter, so.
He has received the letter before.
Huh?
He has received the letter before.
For backing,
Yes.
so this ain't new to him.
No, it's just new.
Yeah, just knew it, I guess, yeah, okay.
All right, we have to move on to our next agenda, so we have a plan for that.
Right. Guess we're done anyway.
All right. So I see,
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. we'll
Thank
go
you.
back
Have a good day.
like that, and, yeah.
all right, so we have your overlay.
Yes, so let me pull this over here so I can look at it. So, the top ones are previous, and then the bottom three are the proposed. There's really not like, I only gave you guys 3 options because I know you guys like options, but there's really not a huge difference. So like at the bottom, I showed what like the tax bill would be different for each. So like it's changing between $6 between any of
Yeah.
these.
Yeah.
So there's not a huge difference. The mill rate itself looks absolutely disgusting, and when I first saw it, I almost died. But we knew going into it that it was not going to be pretty. And it kind of makes sense because our budget went up $500,000 and a mill rate equals $100,000. And so, we kind of knew what it was going to be like, but it still doesn't look any better on paper.
Do you have any idea, like, anticipated overlay?
So the thing about overlay is our discounts come from overlay and abatements come from overlay, both of which I can't anticipate because I don't know how many people are going to take the discount or how many abatements we're going to have to.
We went anywhere from 24, 26, 22.
Right.
Yeah.
So personally, I think I'm kind of caught between the 25-12 and the 25-8 because the 25-6 to me is too close to last year. Because that means that, and we only issued 1 abatement last year that was less than $1,000. So, but in 2022, up here where it says 26,000, we had $6,000 in abatements that year. So I would almost say the 25-12 would put us pretty much, within $50 of where we were last year. And that gives us like a $5,000 wiggle room if there's more abatements or more people that take the discount. And then that $5,000, if it's not spent, goes to surplus anyways. So, and if we wanted to, we could just use whatever is left from overlay as addition, like pull it from surplus next year to use it to buy down the mill rate next year. We did have a little bit of an increase in valuation this year, tax valuation from just new buildings. And I think the new Robinsons kind of contributed to most of that valuation, I would probably guess. Because we went from 78 million to 81 million.
Yeah, right. That's quite a jump. Most abatements, what are they from?
Various things, like if somebody had pulled out a few acres and sold it a few years ago, but it never got updated in the system, so they were still being taxed for the full amount of land, or if their building was assessed for more than what it was worth, or sometimes poverty abatements, which we haven't had any, but I do suspect we may have one in the next 12 months. I know of one person that would like maybe to apply for a poverty abatement. So,
Thoughts, Aaron?
So we're gonna expect the mill rate to keep going up until we have that reval done.
the thing is like, had we done a reval or a factor, the thing is if we had done a factor this year, like I said, the mill rate would have gone down, but what people would have been paying would have gone up so much that they almost, the people that, so the way that the assessor broke it down for me is that the people with homestead actually would be paying almost $40 more than what they would if we didn't do the factor, because their valuations would have came up so much, but it only would have raised their homestead exemption 1%. So because we certified at 81% last year, and we would only certify to we certified at 84%, and we would only certify to 85% this year. So it would only change the homestead exemption 1%, but their assessments would have gone up so much that, because we would have had to raise the assessments 20% to get to where we need to be to 85%. So they would have been paying the same as this, just the mill rate would have gone down, but the valuation would have been higher.
So in coming years, when we can have a revaluation, will that help? Well, it should decrease.
It will decrease the mill rate. It won't necessarily it won't
So-
make people's taxes go down.
Well, no, the taxes are never gonna go down. But what you're pretty much saying is, whether you have a reval or not, whether you don't do the reval and you keep creeping the mill rates up, you're gonna be paying the same prices if you did a reval and your mill rates went down.
Just looks better on paper.
It just looks better on
It's lower.
That's it. The only thing about doing a reval is
But that'll be the reval,
it would
it'd be
be
better because people would be paying what their places were actually,
exactly.
which would in turn potentially not bump other people's up quite as much.
Exactly. And another thing about the mill rate, doing a reval or even a factor, but really a reval is, it would be more in line with what the state says that we are. So like when they're figuring in the school formula and how messed up that whole scenario is, we'll be more in line as to what they're looking at versus what we're looking at. Because right now we're looking at our total assessed value at 81 million, but the state is saying that it's like 111 or 115 million.
Okay, let me ask you this, is our name on the list for a total reval?
Yes.
It is on a list.
Yes.
We didn't just talk to them and say, hey, we really want to get a reval, and they said, well, probably about 4 years.
That's what I
We
was
got
just-
our name on the list.
Yes.
How long will that take? Until they get it done?
Well, they won't even be able to start until 2027.
Wow.
So we could always put it out to bid, but the likelihood is it's going to be that amount of time pretty much for anybody. And RGD has most of the state in assessing. So, but there could be independent assessors that don't necessarily have big firms that do just revals. So it's really up to us if we want to have a separate assessor do the reval. But the another thing to think about when we do the reval is transferring and upgrading Trio to be the full version of real estate, because right now we have what's called short maintenance of real estate. So like none of our property guards or bill what is the word? It's like the calculations of like the building's worth and like how much a first acre is and how much this is, so that the computer calculates that all right now. Oh, not right now. So if we had real estate, the full real estate, he would be able to do all of that in Trio. Right now, he does it all by hand and then puts the information into Trio. So everything takes a little bit longer to do, but it would also take us a long time to input all this information into Trio, to transfer it, but it would be a one-time,
Right.
like once it's in there. And another thing is there would be history of what changed. So there's an upside and a downside. It's gonna be costly no matter which scenario we go down. It just, which one's the fairest, I guess, is really what. And right now, like, we're going to certify at what their projected certified ratio this year is 71%. So they're thinking that they're going to, because you can move 10% up or down. So they're thinking that we're going to fall into the 78%, which is still legal to certify at. So you can certify at anything up to 70%, but you lose some of your homestead values the more you go down. So
That's a lot of information.
assessing is a lot, and it's taking me 10 whole years to understand any of it.
Yeah, it's very complex.
It is, and it's based off numbers that make no sense.
So until we can get the reval done, we're gonna be in the same scenario.
Pretty much. Next year, so what we talked about was if we can get the budget to stay not necessarily the same, but like not have a 500,000 increase next year, then doing a factor next year will bring up the values more in line, so that way when we do the full reval, it won't be as high as if we didn't do a factor.
Right.
So, but they just don't recommend doing a factor the same year as a large budget increase because it's like a double whammy for people.
All right. So we'll plan on the factor next year. All right. Yeah, there isn't a lot of difference between these three.
No, there's
Total tax.
$6 in and I used 150,000 as the valuation because that would be like on average. There's a lot of people that fall under that, but there's some people that fall above, way over that.
Right.
So on average, I used 150,000.
Right. Yeah, even for if you went higher on the estimation, it's just dollars difference.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, every dollar counts 100%, but I just don't think that we should kill ourselves over $6. I just don't want to sell ourselves short over $6. That's the only thing.
In case we need the overlay.
Because even a poverty abatement, for example, like I would hate for us to not want to give a poverty abatement specific only because we didn't budget for it.
True. Thoughts?
I like the middle one, but
I know, I was kind of looking at that initially, and then when you explained, I know.
but it's only $4, right? Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's really not a lot of options here. But I wanted to make it seem like you guys were choosing, so I was like,
Thank you.
yeah.
gonna let us there.
Yeah.
You gotta make the good number the middle number. Because when you tell people I went for the middle one,
I
I like to
know.
hear that rather than I went for the highest one.
Right.
Well, so I gave you a lot more options than what the assessor did, because he gave me 25.12 and then 25. So 25 wouldn't have even put us at this overlay that we spent last year.
Last year, right.
So I just scratched that one completely, and then I went into the calculator myself and started messing around with it today and came up with the 0.08 and 0.06,
Yeah.
because I was trying to get it as close to what we spent last year as possible. And I guess, well, not trying to be on Aaron's side, the 25,000 is the average of the
Of what we've spent in the
what we've
past.
spent in
That's
the
what I was
past.
looking at too.
So I mean, I'm fine with any of these. That's why I gave them to you.
Mhm.
But it's really up to you.
For a $4 difference, that gives us more than 3,000 in possible overlay.
I know.
But I know what you mean. It's like, I'm curious what other towns are dealing with.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a sticker shock.
Yep. Well, we are not the only ones. Marty and I went to a training last Thursday, and the town manager of Lemoyne was our teacher. And he said that he just sent tax bills out with a 25% increase, which is essentially what this is. And he said that it almost broke him to send those out,
bet.
but at the same time, what are you gonna do? We're not left with any other options. And I'm almost, so something else that I thought about is maybe, like typing up something that has like, maybe even like a piece of my speech that says like why we're doing what we're doing to send with the tax bills.
I'm just gonna walk around with a sign that says, "Go see Elena."
Don't say that!
She can explain it all to you.
So, I mean, it would just give a nice icebreaker to people, but it's just a thought, because the people that didn't attend town meeting are gonna see this and they're gonna be like, holy. So I feel like maybe if we just send like a nice little, we know that this is scary, but these are the reasonings
An
why we had to
explanation
do
of
what we had to do.
Right.
And then,
roads.
right, exactly. So I don't know, that was just a thought that I had this week.
It couldn't hurt.
Because I'm gonna see quite a few people. You guys might see some, but I'm gonna see a lot more than you.
But I do think that, I think people take it better when they see the valuation of their property go up versus the mill rate, because that's what everybody always said. It's our mill rate is.
And that's what gets printed in the newspaper
It is,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what people see. That's why I was like, oh, compared to other towns, the newspapers.
But at the same time, those same people call me and say, why is my building all of a sudden now valued at this? I haven't done a damn thing to it since 1983, and you're telling me that it now is out. I hear it all the time.
Can't win.
It doesn't matter how you do it, there's gonna be somebody, but like you said, it looks better on paper. They're gonna pay the same amount.
Yes, but
But
say
it's
if their valuation went up, they'd be like, oh, my house is worth a lot of money, I can sell it and make some
Right.
money, but when they see the mill rate, they're like, nobody's gonna wanna buy my house when they see this mill rate.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
No, just mine last year, Sangerville did a revale, and I think they went down from 19 to 11 on the mill rate, but my taxes went up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, well,
So, I mean, there's no good way to sugarcoat this and hand it to somebody and say,
Because
here,
I
this is
can
gonna
explain
taste
to
good.
somebody when their place is valued at something more, but I cannot explain to them the mill rate going up.
Well,
Send them to her.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. She knows all the formulas, she can explain them.
I think that letter would be a good idea.
okay, I will draft something and I will send it to you guys for a proofread.
Okay.
And then, so I will try to do that tonight or even in the morning. Because what I would like to do is I would like to print bills on Thursday.
Okay.
So that when I leave next week, I'm not like, here, girls, have 1,200 tax bills. Have a good time. Peace out. I'll be gone for a week. Or actually almost 2, because the only day that I'm here for the next 2 weeks is Tuesday the 12th. So I really don't want to leave them completely high and dry. They're already going to have to listen to people while I'm gone. And I already feel terrible about that. But so I don't want to leave them with the, so that's what I'll do. And, yeah.
Okay.
And then, you know, like, it's not gonna cost us a whole lot of money to put one piece of paper in with every tax bill, because we're already mailing them out anyway. So.
Even a half a piece of paper.
Right. Right.
Short letter.
Right. Just
If you
a
want to
slip, like,
read a long one.
slip, yeah.
But explain, valuation. All right, so we have to make a decision.
25, 12 it is.
He wants to go middle. That was my original thought, just because it's an average of what we've spent in the past.
Fine with me.
Cross our fingers that.
And it does give us like roughly $2,000 more than what we spent this year if there is an abatement.
Yeah.
But if you think of, so what I'm trying to envision is, so say we had a poverty abatement.
Right.
A poverty abatement is for the entire amount of that year. So most of the time, not always, but most of the time. So what happens if their house is valued at $150,000 and their whole tax bill is $2,500? That's one abatement that's gonna take up the whole.
And you said you're anticipating?
There's one that I know of. It was supposed to come to the last meeting, but this person didn't have it ready in time. So I foresee it may be the next meeting, next month.
I see what you're saying.
So that's the only reason why I feel the way I feel, is because this 23,000, 22,500 of this is just discounts.
Okay. 22, what'd you say, 22?
22,500
is just discount. Wow.
Which also, why do we offer a discount?
Because somebody did a while back and they kept going with it,
I know.
because it kept people happy.
But like, it doesn't make sense. They're paying it anyways.
One of those feel-good things.
But like,
If we got rid of that and the taxes.
oh no. I don't think that we should do
Dead
that.
meat.
But like, it doesn't make sense. You see what I'm
I
saying?
know. Let's do that maybe another year.
Totally. But we talked about it at we were the only town actually that offers
That does that.
because so many towns have realized that they're paying that 2%, because we have to add it into the budget. We have to add it into the mill rates. They're paying that 2% anyways.
How about the next town meeting we have, we kind of just bring that subject up and see what they say about getting rid of it and kind of explain to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's.
But we gotta have something else big to talk about, getting all there.
Yeah. Well, you can go run around town telling everybody we're gonna take their discount away. That should stir up madness. Or
Don't give me ideas.
I
'cause
stopped talking because I had a great idea of how I could get people here, but I'm gonna just move along.
I'm now leaning to your suggestion for $4 more, just having that cushion. with the discount and,
I just, that's one abatement we're talking about.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
I just don't wanna be in the situation in which that we have to spend over our overlay and then in which I don't know what to do.
where
And
does
then,
that come out of then?
I don't know.
Surplus?
I guess, and then you have to go to town meeting to
Right.
spend from surplus.
Right.
So that, again, it's up to you guys. But- And if this makes you feel better, the 2512 is the middle of the road option. I just took the highest one off originally because I didn't like the highest one. So I
What was
just
the highest one?
25.15.
Okay, now it's in the middle, so I'll take it.
Okay.
Let's put that one in there so
Yeah.
we can say that.
And that the overlay at 25.15 was 30.29, I think.
It's just about what it was in 23.
So, but I took that one off because I was like, nope, we don't need no 32.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we can say we did the middle then,
That's right.
which is
25.12.
2512.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, did we have to make a motion?
Yep.
Okay, I make a motion, for mill rate at 25.12.
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Jonathan's gonna be in full denial now when somebody asks.
He's gonna blame us.
I literally thought of that earlier. He's gonna be like, no, I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Okay, with an overlay amount of 28,875.13. And I also don't know what else you can spend overlay money for. That was one of the things that I was gonna look up today, but I didn't have
I was wondering
time-
that too.
time to
yeah.
do that, because I know like discounts, abatements, whatever, but I feel as though there's other things that could potentially come down the pike that could come from overlay, because not everybody offers discounts, but they still have an overlay for abatements, obviously, but there's also an expense line in that account, so I don't know. But, so that's just something that I'm gonna look into
Okay,
for future
yeah.
knowledge.
I'm kind of curious on that.
Okay, so,
Because the better we can predict in the future,
Yeah.
the more accurate,
Yeah.
reasonable we can make it.
yeah, for sure. For sure. So, okay,
All set on that?
Yep.
Go ahead, miscellaneous?
I just put it on there just in case something came up today when I was in the office that I would have to, be like, oh, and one more thing, but no,
Okay.
it was,
Chuck, did you?
I
have
do,
Anything?
Good.
do have something on miscellaneous.
Okay.
We need to think about getting the cameras down to the transfer station activated again. Because there's starting to be a fair amount of illegal dumping.
Ooh.
Because Steve usually leaves the gate open when they're going back and forth during the day,
Right.
and there's people going in there, and
Did we have cameras down there at one point?
there is a camera, yes, but something happened with it a while back, and nothing ever got done with it.
Okay. Is it possible to get the same type of?
I'm thinking we
And
got,
we had talked about having, well, when we got these cameras, seeing if they could link the cameras from down there where we got the internet.
It should be able to.
Yeah.
And work on getting something that's for fines. If caught, illegal dumping.
So like setting some sort of like, how do we do that? Like a policy or like, how do we enforce that?
Yeah. Would have to be an ordinance for us
Yeah.
to enforce it.
Planning board come up with something.
Yeah, but like, I feel like they're
Is there anything in there already?
well, I don't know, because like the planning board doesn't have to come up with the fees for what we charge at the transfer station. So like, if we could just have something that says like, if caught violating, or if caught,
Another sign.
yeah,
Yeah, just put up signs if you get caught illegally dumping, then it's $250, or whatever you guys decide.
right, like I feel
Well,
like,
it's first violation be set amount, and then as they kept doing it, it'd be more for habitual offenders, and then pretty soon all your dump privileges are revoked, so you gotta pay somebody to come remove all your trash.
Do we need an official policy though?
that's what I'm wondering, like, would a policy like be sufficient?
I'd say probably the attorney would be the one to
Yeah,
kind of guide us in that direction.
I was thinking
Check.
Then I do understand it would be difficult for Steve to close and lock the gate every time he goes in and out, like when they're hauling cold patch. And
That actually reminds me that we've talked about revisiting the transfer station fees at
right,
some point, so I had forgotten about that at the last meeting, so maybe,
that budget meeting.
yeah, that maybe that's something that we look at and update.
Yeah.
And maybe I will have an answer as to what no promises, because like I'll literally be gone for 2 weeks right before that meeting, but maybe I will have time this week to reach out to the attorney to see what, like a policy or something,
Yeah.
because like,
If we need to.
I can't imagine that we'd be the only town that had some sort of like fine if you're caught illegally dumping at the transfer station.
Well, I mean, that may actually fall under just the state law as far as legal dumping. If you don't have permission to
Be there,
be there or deposit trash and you do it, that's illegal dumping.
that's true.
I
Or, well,
couldn't tell you the MSR code on it, but there is one.
yeah,
But if we as select board impose a fine, violation, like, I could see if it was, yeah, I don't know how that would work.
I'll check with the attorney
Yeah.
either way, which I will send him actually an email tonight anyways before I leave, so I'll just include that at the end.
While we're on transfer station, not a long answer expected here, but have you heard back about the solar at all? Okay. Golly.
I know, the last thing that he said was that the data was still uploading to the end phase in whatever. Or Envoy end phase, or it's end phase that has the data, I guess.
Okay.
And so then they have to push their software updates. Is what's taking us.
Right, because they have to go back. I'll tell you my little solar problem after this, after we're done. Chuck, did you have anything?
Yeah, I went and looked at Pleasant Street, like we talked about the phone.
Yeah.
While I was out on the road, I have no issue with it.
Oh, okay.
We'll
emergency.
get to the house with no problem. I mean,
Yeah, but if they're.
we were parked in the street because that's just where the rest of the truck stops. We just got a call to that address. We didn't know where the patient was, so. And then I just pulled up behind the rescue, but people could get by us. I mean, ambulance drove by us with no problem, so
Okay,
I had no issue with it.
okay.
I just happened to look tonight. I wasn't paying attention to that when I went there.
Were they parked on the road though?
No, they were
Okay.
on the grass.
On the grass, right? And that's always, I mean, I don't wanna beat this dead horse, but I
It's kind
know,
of hard to tell somebody, hey, you can't park on your lawn. I mean, as long as it's not the roadway, there's no issue with us.
what's a 3-rod road, by the way?
Where the town has jurisdiction over from the center line.
So,
How many,
How
like
many rods, what rod
Is
was,
it-
16.5 feet.
Yeah,
16 and a half? So from the center, 16 and a half feet?
Well, so a rod equals 16.5 feet, so 3 rods, so,
You'd
so
have
from
your
the center line.
10-foot wide road and then 3 feet on either side if it was
Gotcha.
a one rod road,
One.
right?
If that's a 1 rod,
Okay, so,
it seems awful wide for Pleasant Street.
so the whole width of the road would be 49.5 feet. That is our right of way. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the road itself is 3 rods. It means the design of the road is 3 rods. So we have jurisdiction over the 3 rods.
3 rods.
Wherever that falls, whether that's on your front step, if we decide to widen the road, we have 3 rods to do it.
Gotcha.
So that's.
I'm just curious what that translates into that lawn.
Right, so it would be what, 25 feet from the center line?
if you're 50 feet wide.
Yeah,
State's 33.5 feet from the center line on each side of the road.
right, because most of theirs are 4 rod roads. Well, it depends on where you are, because there are a few that's actually more than that, but.
Okay.
And another thing I had is just kind of explain, Elena and I, Phil had this conversation last week about the dry hydrant deal. So, which she didn't realize that dry hydrant covers that side of town. So if we do something here, which would be great,
It wouldn't cover that.
because I can't run 4-inch line across the road, shut Route 15 down totally. This is all up.
Okay. Good to know.
Does it make a difference if it's pressurized water, would they, no, just,
What's that?
if they just consider any water source?
What's that for ISO?
Yeah.
ISO is not gonna make any difference, because according to ISO, Lake Hebron does not exist. Pressurized water is where,
How do we fight that?
I just gotta have them come up here.
Okay,
But it's
have
gonna
them come up
be-
here and I'll show them.
It's, no, I mean, you look at any state of Maine map, it's there.
Just throw them off the end of the dog, be like,
So-
yeah, there's a lake there, isn't there?
Yeah,
ISO rating goes by how many gallons our tank truck is, which to lower ours, we need 4,000 gallons of water initially. We can do a rural water supply deal, which is 2 water sources equal distance apart to a point in the middle and maintain 250 gallons a minute for 2 hours, I think, with tank trucks. So that's all stuff that we can do. We just gotta get the time to set it up and actually do it. And then I will call ISO about bookkeeping. I talked to the guy called me when he called the update when he found out that I was fire chief. He said, you know, what do you have for this, what do you have for that? I said, well, how do we do this? He said, you need to call them. Explain to them. Pressurized hydrants would, yes, if they were constantly pressurized like Saginaw and Guilford's are, from, even though they're gravity fed, but they
Yes,
have.
but do they have to be throughout town, or could they just be 1 or 2?
I can ask that.
Just because obviously the town doesn't have the money to redo the whole infrastructure to,
Correct.
for all the hydrants.
Correct.
Even like I said, if we could do something in that building with a pressurized hookup, if that would make a difference.
It'll help us as far as getting water faster.
Right.
Yeah.
but what he's saying is, even if we put something here, we
You
still
still
have
have
to
to do
have
that.
them
Right.
on the other side. So I guess it would be, are you guys okay with moving forward to fix and replace that one that's over there?
It sounds like we have to.
And the only reason I'm going steel, so we don't have this issue again. I wasn't here when they put them in, none of us were. Lieber paid to put them in, and they did it, and I spoke to Elena about reaching out to them to see if they would help pay for like half of it. to fix it.
Why did they put them in?
It was something that they were doing.
They had to for their,
Oh, insurance, okay.
It was just like there was supposed to be a 10,000 gallon cistern out by Phil's house in one of the brooks that never got done.
that was something we were supposed to do?
Yep, it was all part of doing the hydrant deal that they agreed to do. Like I said, I don't know if there's any paperwork on that. I wasn't here. I have,
Yeah,
yeah. Plastic works, but you get anything, you put,
yeah.
Well, even the ice moving on it.
could, but like I said, I think that one, because it's broke just in the ground, I think. I haven't dug it up, but we can't, it sucks there.
Yeah.
So I think just snow or whatever, if someone ever backed into it, you would never know it, if it cracked in the ground. That's why I had one in Sangerville, we did 3 times, replaced it 3 times with plastic, and the 4th time I said, enough's enough.
Yeah,
Put steel in,
right.
and it will actually be, the pipe will actually be bigger than what's there, it'll be an 8-inch pipe, reduced to 6 as for our suction, but it reduces friction loss coming in, so we get more water quicker. And then went out to the bridge, in Willimantic, I got pressure from them to go ahead and put slate in there to make the road so we can get to it, because right now you can't even get to it.
Okay.
And they're also paying for that, so.
Okay, so, just to reiterate, I am gonna talk to Libra and look for some paperwork about the dry hydrants and the cistern that was supposed to be down to,
I can't remember the brook.
Hammond Brook?
It was one after that, wasn't it? Down by Tim's.
Yes.
I think it was in that brook.
Yeah.
Because Phil owns part of off the Burke Road or something.
Oh,
He said somebody didn't care if they shifted over on him, but it would have water from the brook constantly running into it. And it holds 10,000 gallons of water.
it doesn't go through the farm, does it?
Yes.
Not Drain Page, but the other.
Yeah.
It does,
Yeah.
where all those animals.
Yeah. And maybe that cistern, that might have been something that they were supposed to have when they had their original plan for the town.
Could be. I don't
And they
know.
downsized a fair amount, believe it or not.
Because like I said, the one,
Yeah,
the one over here by the restaurant works during the summertime. But wintertime it freezes, so we can't use it.
yeah,
it's also not an ideal location to,
yeah.
I have to do that to the, tomorrow.
Good.
For that. So long as it comes out back.
Yep.
Comes out front.
Alright, you got a list there.
I usually do.
I just add to it weekly for
We all do,
I was gonna say, you're not alone there. I hardly ever add to it myself. Just kidding.
So have we heard any more, like, from the grant people? You said you got a call that it was appropriated.
Oh, yes, let me actually,
I gotta say, it was published in the paper.
Was it?
yeah, it was published in the paper.
Which paper?
The
Observer,
Scotland's Observer.
Okay.
which will go up tomorrow.
Okay.
We will actually you get a physical copy tomorrow. I read it, Elena.
Okay, I usually go online.
People have read it somewhere else.
It could be.
Because they approached me and they're like, oh, I read the other day that we got that. And I'm like,
Yeah, the Piscataquis
It's not
Observer
just 15
posted it on their website the same day that they called me.
Oh, my word.
She
I
called
got-
me at 10 o'clock at night. I get
Yeah.
a text from her and I'm like, it's in bed. And I'm like, I better get up and see who that was.
Right.
And she's like, $3 million for a new station. So I'm like, we texted out for an hour back and forth.
I was like, so,
Well, they must have done a news, thing from their office.
Yeah, once it's officially that, because it has to pass the Senate and the House.
right, so it still has to be
Right, that's
voted in and signed into law by the president in order for the funding to be awarded. So we are in their budget. The budget just needs to be approved, I guess.
Which I believe is October.
I think so. And so it says, we will provide further updates on the status of your request as they become available. Please let us know if you have any additional questions.
I know Collins is in the midst of fighting for a lot of money that's been appropriated already,
Right.
so.
So yeah, at a funding level of 3 million, which is approximately $100,000 more than what we requested. So our match wouldn't be, which I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to put it into the universe because I'm just gonna $3 million. Like that's what we're gonna put into the universe.
What
and
was our
that's-
match again?
So we had requested 2.9 million with a match of 125,000.
Okay, which is what percent?
Because the grant that this one's under there is no set match.
Right. So this would be.
And just to throw it out there, Wade Anderson said that he has 6 acres on the corner of 15 and the Ellettsville Road that he would be willing to sell.
I wonder if that's the one that Corinne talked to. She did a septic design for somebody, and he said, if the town's still looking, like,
Must have been him because there's Bob Pensier and then Carl Vani owns a little sliver that goes back and then back over to C&G's, but that, pretty much that whole corner down is Wade's.
Oh, the Ellettsville Road,
Yeah.
yeah, where he used to have the cattle in that little area.
so we gotta look at that one other spot, but I just need a acreage so I can make that meeting happen. That
Yes.
Make it donated.
What'd you say our contribution was again in dollars?
It would be about 4%.
About 4%. That's what I was
It's like
thinking.
4.1.
I was thinking 5, so okay. Okay.
Yeah, so 4.2%.
4.2.
So if everything works out in our favor, for the town of Monson to be paying 4% of an entire new fire station, that would be a huge relief to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not just in Monson, really. A lot of people benefit from our fire department.
As your grant.
Yeah.
Explain. Okay, thank you. Anything else?
I don't think so.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. You
Second.
good? Okay. All in favor? 5:41. Are we off soon?